Actually, all over the country there is a huge discussion going on about inclusive growth, and India is at the crossroads where we are talking about structural change, because almost 60% of community in the primary sector is trying to produce 18 to 20% of GDP or GSDP as we look at it. And it's a huge burden on the system because per capita income or the produce in the primary sector is not reaching appropriate levels. There are some endemic issues which we are trying to address. The most critical thing is productivity and the capacity of the system to deliver. Like if we see the soils are highly deficient in carbon, in micronutrients, we are overusing NPK in large number of areas. The productivity of water or water use efficiency is very low. Plasticulture has started playing a role, but again things are not happening. In the rainy season we have a huge produce, as a result market prices collapse. In the off season we don't have facilities available. Agribusiness is missing, damage to the crops is very high. So looking at it, how do we address that unless we take a specific area into a project mode? Like now, even if we see in Andhra Pradesh, huge quantity of water in Godavari system is going to the sea, and Rayalaseema, which is almost 3 times the size of Israel, is running through a very huge drought. So how do we address that? How do we work on to it? So we have to look at the big macro picture of the country or the state. In Andhra Pradesh, our total primary sector is almost about $21 billion, but it has a potential of reaching $60–65 billion in next 4 or 5 or 6 years. On it, the value addition will be another $20 billion. But how do we make it happen? Do we have policies? Do we have professional systems to manage? Do we have the knowledge around it? How are we going to address that? So one of the most critical item is the digital information. We have the soil database. We have started working on information about each and every farmer, their knowledge systems, their productivity systems, what kind of a support they need. That's where once we start interacting with the ICRISAT and the consortium which is trying to work out. So the short hits will come through micronutrient application. We have a huge quantity of solid waste, almost 70% of it is lying unutilized. Can it be converted through new microbe systems? Can we go into various things on which value addition can be done? So once we start mapping the area, what is the priority in which area, what can be produced, how it can be sold, what value addition will come, what skill the farmers have and how do they move further on to that. There are a number of opportunities available, like we have the farmer groups working, we have the women farmers as self-help groups. Can they become user groups and work around? So we are just in the process of taking about 300,000 women into self-help groups and milk associations, milk federations, about 60 of them. Then they will need the support of bulk cooler processes, marketing, support systems there. So instead of centralizing at a higher level, can we decentralize it all so that its consumption can improve, its marketing can improve and profitability can improve. Same thing is happening in the case of eggs. If we can increase the consumption. In the case of fish, can we increase the local consumption so that the local production, local consumption goes, value addition happens to that. So there are a whole lot of things happening around us, but most critical will be database of every farmer, a two-way communication with every farmer, making farmers self-reliant, but in the long run bulking of the produce and raw material of farmers will have to happen so that proper marketing support comes on that. Damage is reduced and agribusiness value addition is brought in over there so that there is a professional management approach happening. But almost 20–30% population in India and Andhra Pradesh will move out of primary sector. They may come into agribusiness, they may come into MSME, they may come into service sector. So simultaneously an approach for a skill development, an approach for improving the quality of education, approach for improving the manufacturing facilities in Andhra Pradesh, so that whole lot of things fall into a kind of a complete whole. We want to have a double-digit growth continuously for next 10 years. We have seen that around 30 countries in the world, as per a Harvard study, have done 10 to 15 years continuously for double-digit growth and have become developed economy. We are working on a vision for 2029 when we will be the best state in the country. We are also suggesting that this learning should continuously move, and immediately if ICRISAT consortium can work for whole of the country and then for all the 50 odd countries with which ICRISAT is working, because a generation cannot wait. We need not wait for this kind of an operation to happen. It has to simultaneously happen everywhere. We are losing time, and primary sector being the most critical for inclusive growth. All the parameters are pointing that if we do not address this issue, the endemic inclusive growth issues will not be sorted out. So, we must work, and this approach of working with ICRISAT, with CGIAR institutes and a consortium based approach, bringing private sector, bringing universities, bringing colleges together, bringing progressive farmers is a very, very critical item. So, it is virtually a knowledge management approach which we are trying to bring in and then grow from there in a professional way. Thank you.